What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the Snobs podcast. I am your host, Mick Manhattan, the Scene Snob. Back again, as always. We are live here on Facebook Live. For now, some changes are coming. So hopefully you guys will stick with us. So this has always been intended to be a channel, and it's being run off YouTube right now. So it is the Scene Snobs channel on YouTube. So right now, basically, what's going on is I've been doing everything during the pandemic on Facebook Live, things like that, just kind of put out some live content. We still will have that, but we are going to be transitioning over to the YouTube channel and do live shows there. So hopefully you guys will be able to join us. Head over to YouTube now and go to the Scene Snobs YouTube channel. And just hit like and hit subscribe and do us that favor. That helps us in the long run to monetize the shows. And just kind of going from there. We are adding a couple more shows. Starting next week, we will be doing a Monday morning review show. So Monday mornings around 9 a.m. We'll just be kind of reviewing the week before and the week coming up. So we will be starting that next Monday morning at 9 a.m. Then we will still continue with the Scene Snobs podcast right here, 9:30. The Behind the Box podcast is on Wednesdays at 7:30. Rob Paints the Movies Thursdays at 7:30. Then you have Fridays. We're going to be starting our next, not this coming Friday, but the Friday after. We're going to be starting our Scene Snob Showcase, which is bringing on artists and different people, interesting people to come on and talk, and it's going to kind of be like a hangout session. We'll do it over Zoom, or once things kind of open back up, get people in the studio and such. So it'll be a lot of fun. Like, I definitely want to get a lot of musicians, different artists, things like that on here to talk. It's going to be in the vein of something like the Graham Norton show, where it's just, we'll have some questions, but we're going to have a good time. So hopefully you can join in for that. So lots of good stuff, like I said. We will be transitioning over to the Scene Snobs YouTube channel, so make sure you go over there and subscribe to the channel and hit like and make sure you hit the notifications button so you know when all the shows are coming up. But we do have a full schedule on the scenesnobs.com, so check that out. Pulling Focus, we got a brand new Pulling Focus episode that premiered last week, so make sure you go check that out. We talk about, Black Lives Matter, the movies of black filmmakers and things like that. And Brian and I had a really cool conversation on that, and it's a very good episode, so it's out now, so make sure you go check that out. Links, as always, are on any of the social media or on the scenesnobs.com. So, hey, what's going on? My partner in crime, one I was just talking about, Brian, he is joining us. So, normally, of course, when I do the Scene Snobs podcast live, I pick out some topics to talk about, but I kind of wanted to leave that to the audience tonight and just kind of see where everybody else is at. I'm going to go over some news that's coming up, but I have some other things I kind of want to chat about, talk about, get your feelings on. But if there's any topics or anything you want to vent or anything going on, please feel free, jump in, let's have a conversation. It should be a good time. So, for one thing I love, I was driving today. I went to go pick up ice cream for my wife and I. So I drive down, I go get Dairy Queen. Stop in, get it. Stop do a drive-through, get it. But as I'm driving home, it's gorgeous. It's golden hour. It's beautiful out. It's beautiful breeze. I have the windows down. Everything. And I'm just like, this is summer. I love summer. I love that feeling. I can find something about every season, of course, but there's something about summer when it's not quite too hot, but you get that golden hour feel, that breeze hitting your face, like as you're driving, and it just takes you back to when you were like 18, 19. Does anybody else ever feel that? My favorite part about it was, I started thinking about like when I was 18 or 19, just graduating high school, and was kind of, free in the world. Like, so basically how I always put it is, I have no regrets in my life. I like where I'm at in my life now. And I like every year, like, I'm not saying there hasn't been some tough ones, but like, I don't look back and be like, I wish I could relive this. I could do that. No, I lived it. I'm glad I had the experiences I had, and I don't mind it. So I'm glad to be here where I am now, and where I'm going to go going forward, kids and such and stuff like that. But you think back and you think of like when you were really free, when you were really like don't give a crap attitude about anything, and I think that's got to be the time when you're like a senior in high school, maybe like just graduated, like that's summer. I feel for like a lot of us is like a very freeing moment. Tell me if I'm alone. And as I'm driving, I started thinking back to that, like going down to the shore, because I grew up in Jersey, and you would drive down the back roads, the country roads, and stuff like that to get there. Hanging out with friends, like nonchalant, caring, like yeah, you had a job, but you did your job, then you went out and you partied, and just like the world was your oyster. It was fantastic. So I started thinking about things that reminded me of that. And like certain songs, things like that. Like I know Sugar Ray was huge when I was in high school. Big summer songs and stuff like that. Like I want to hear what you guys think. What are your summer songs? From like those freeing times and stuff like that. Like what are some experiences you had? What did you love? I'm always interested to hear things like that, and just different perspectives. So that's one topic I think that would be fun to talk about. Another one that's pretty cool, just kind of going back to the movie side of things. Stephen King came out recently, and he tweeted, he was like, the best novel idea I never wrote, and probably never will, is Jason, the first-person narrative of Jason Voorhees and his hellish fate, killed over and over again at Camp Crystal Lake. What a hellish existential fate idea. Could you imagine if Stephen King had sat down, decided, and said, all right, I'm going to write a Friday the 13th book. What? That would astound me to see what he would have written, and just the idea that he gives from the perspective of Jason. Like, what are you going to do with that? Like, what does a Stephen King Friday the 13th book look like? What does Jason Voorhees' point of view look like from Stephen King? It would be mind-boggling. And why that character? I'm so enamored by like why he would choose that character. Just think about the legal thick one would have to go through to get permissions, and makes my head ache and my heart that too. But gosh, shouldn't someone tell Jason's side of the story? So yeah, I guess like he said, if he has to go through legal ramifications to do it, I don't think he would do it anytime now, but he did say Blumhouse should do it. Would you want to see that? Would you want Stephen King involved? Hey, Evan, what's going on? Did you hear all about the Clive Barker going to court to get the Hellraiser rights back from him? Hi, by the way. Hey, what's going on, buddy? Glad you can join us. I did hear about that. I heard. I'm actually writing an article right now for somebody on the Hellraiser series, so it's funny you bring that up. Clive Barker. Now, I think the thing that would be really interesting about Clive Barker retaining the rights is look at what he did with the first two. Look where they kind of went from there, and his mind. If you read the books, they're even crazier. But the movie-wise, like his look and his feel for everything, how crazy would that be for him to come back? I mean, he's got to be chomping at the bit to get back, because look where they've taken it. They've tried to take it into, and they have made a full franchise, 10 movies. I mean, that's more than a lot. So, there could be an argument made for Pinhead being one of the top movie monsters of all time in horror films. That would be a debate to have, and possibly we will. That may be coming up soon. He retaining the rights, I couldn't imagine where he would go from it now. Would his style be the same, like as it was 30 some years ago? How dark would he take it? Who would exist in it? Because he was never really always married to, like, oh, it's got to be Pinhead at the forefront. So it would definitely be really interesting to see him take the rights. I think it would be fun for him to take the rights to Hellraiser and do something with it. Maybe kind of revive it, maybe a reboot or something with him still helming it. But it's like when Wes Craven's estate won back Night of the Living Dead, Nightmare on Elm Street. He and everything Nightmare on Elm Street. So they win it back. Are they going to continue it? There's heavy rumor that Freddy, Robert Englund might be playing Freddy one more time. That could be a big deal. Like, so what are they going to do with it? Are they going to continue it, kind of like how Halloween did? And I've talked about this before. It'd be interesting to see. I don't think that the Wes Craven estate. I know they're fielding pitches and stuff like that now. I know Elijah Wood was one of them to go in and pitch. I don't know if Blumhouse pitched or if they're looking to be a part of it. Might be in their wheelhouse to do it. And it'd be interesting to see. But where would you go with Freddy? I don't even understand that. So, like, Clive Barker could take Hellraiser and do something with it. Those are always his babies, so it would be interesting to see. I don't know about the Cravens or what they'll do or who they'll put in charge to kind of helm it going forward. I think you would need to expand on it a bit. And I would definitely be interested to see in how they expand on it a bit, because I think Freddy is somebody who, rather than explore him, they explored his victims more. Which, okay. So here's the crazy thing. I was watching Scream Queen the other day, which was about Mark Patton, who starred in the second one, and about the second movie. To me, going back and looking, like, Nightmare on Elm Street Part 2 was always looked at as kind of like Halloween 3 or, Friday the 13th Part 5. I don't hate Nightmare on Elm Street 2. When I was a kid and you watched the first one, then you watch the second one, you're like, what is this? Why is this so different? What is happening here? But as an adult, you grow up and you're like, all right, I get what they're doing here. And I like that they were that and Freddy's Dead, The Final Nightmare. They were the two that really, to me, were trying to expand on Freddy's lore and where it goes from there and stuff like that. And I find that interesting. I think Freddy is the type of character you want to do that with. They dropped the ball. No, well, I don't even know so much the second one dropped the ball, but the sixth one definitely dropped the ball. But for the most part, that franchise always focused on the characters, the victims. Now, with the Hellraiser series, yeah, they focused on Pinhead a lot, and other characters. They took it too far out. They dropped the ball rather than focus somewhere and go with it, like the first one did and the second one did. They moved it around and did different things. And then tried to bring it back, and it didn't work, so they went farther with it, and it got so convoluted. So, with that, I will say that, Brian, I see that you said you want to see that, and I would want to see that too. And I'm assuming you're talking about Stephen King with the Friday the 13th, helming Jason, if you did. I would love to see that. Because, again, it's another character. They never, except for Part 2, Friday the 13th Part 2, they never really expanded on who Jason was. Where he came from. They just kind of made things up as they went along. Part 2, Ginny was actually asking questions. Well, what if he was this? What if he was that? Blah, blah, blah. What brought him back? All this stuff. So it got interesting, but they never expanded upon that. Again, they focused on the victims. More so than they focused on the interesting character behind it. And they were supposed to. Part 6 was supposed to set up Jason's father coming in. And finding out, like, how his connection and things he was doing were... Len Francis says they're doing the novels. We'll get to that one second. I see that you just joined, Len. I do want to talk to you about it because I know it's your favorite character. But we're just focused on movies at the moment. Yeah, I know they do expand on them in the novels. Everyone expands on them in the novels. You have to. And this is kind of coming from Stephen King talking about a book, a Jason book that he never wrote and probably never will, but he had an idea for. I would love to see the movies expand on Jason some more and take it in such an interesting way. I mean, the dude's pretty much Frankenstein, but even more unkillable, So, Len, I've never read a Friday the 13th novel. I'm glad you brought that up. And I was saying that about the Stephen King novel. I don't know what that would look like. I would read a Stephen King novel, especially if it had about Jason. So it would be interesting. But what would he do with it? What would Jason and being held by Stephen King look like? I want to know what you guys think. What would Stephen King's Jason look like? We've seen what he's written with his protagonist, antagonist, everything in his books before as fans, and even in his movies. What would Jason look like? Somebody else's creation in Stephen King's hands. I want to know what you guys think. So, there's a lot of that going on though right now, with kind of revisiting. And I liked what they did with Halloween. I've never shied away from saying that. I've always been I'm a big fan of the 2018 Halloween movie. I thought they did a fantastic job. I like where they went with him. Sorry about that. So I like where they went with him, and I want to know. I want to know where they're going to take him. Because Halloween Kills comes out this year, then they're going to have Halloween Ends, and I'm fine with them ending it. By all means, please tell me a clear story that's going to finish. But I like how they, rather than all of the sequels, which I still enjoy, that took him and expanded on him killing. I want to see what they're going to do with Blumhouse with the. Are they going to? They took him out of play for that 40 years essentially. So now he's back in play. Now he's back in this town murdering. Where does he go from here? What do you guys think? Where should we take these characters from the 80s? Should we be bringing them back? And should we I don't think it worked with Alien. Everything Prometheus. I know a lot of people like Prometheus, and it was gorgeous movie. And I think I would have liked it more if it wasn't such a tie-in to the Alien movies. And Alien Covenant, it was fine. I didn't dislike it at all. But I didn't. It was so familiar. It was nothing new. So I was kind of like, all right. I've seen this before. What do you do with it? So, yeah, I don't think we need any more Alien movies. They rebooted Chucky. Don't think they did a great job with it. Then now they're, they actually went in a very cool way where they rebooted once before. So, as we all know, Chucky was always the killer doll running around, blah, blah, blah. Nothing major, but they got a lot of movies out of them. Then they did the comedies of Bride of Chucky, Seed of Chucky, and then, where do you go? They wrote themselves into a corner. So, they kind of rebooted with the same character of, he comes out, he ships himself to, this family, and it becomes, the curse of Chucky. And it's just to kind of start all new. He picked a new little girl to hunt down, and she had a sister that was his obstacle, and it was really well done. That whole movie was really well done, and they followed up with Cult of Chucky, and it just kind of imploded on itself. So there's another character. Maybe go away for a while. You tried to revamp it again, and I didn't think it worked personally. Len Francis says probably won't be another Alien prequel, as Aliens Covenant did just okay at the box office. Thought this Child's Play was better than the original series of movies. Really? I didn't love it. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it. I thought they could have done better. I was hoping it would be a lot better. I think it was just more flashy than anything else. There was no. I think the thing that I like about Chucky more than anything is that he was a character. He was his own thing. He had goals. What was the goal of the robot? Nothing really. It was just kind of a bad robot. Evan, I feel David Gordon Green is going to really revitalize the Halloween franchise with this trilogy. It was ruined by Rob Zombie, take on Myers, but have to have Jamie Lee Curtis back is what Halloween has always been about. Her versus her brother. But they took the brother and sister element out of it, which I actually kind of liked. And the thing I liked about the 2018, if you haven't seen it, sorry, but I have like a rule of like 2 years, or if it's the movie's older than 2 years, you're sorry. You had enough time. So, spoilers. The thing I liked about it was Michael wasn't looking for Laurie in this. She was obsessed. She trained her entire life, knowing he'd break out, knowing he'd come back, and she was not wrong. She was right. He wanted that, but she was looking at, he's going to come after me. He's going to find me. That's what this is about. And it said that's just that survivor's mentality, where she's trained her whole life to defeat this evil, and he breaks out, and he's not coming after her. He puts no effort towards her. He's just there to kill. And I liked that. I thought that was really good. It's the fact that they just crossed paths. He didn't end up at her house because he's like, oh, I need to go to Laurie's house. He ended up at her house because he was chasing her granddaughter by accident. It was just happened to be one of those things that put her out there. So I did really like the take of that. And once he saw her, he was like, oh, I'm going to murder her. I know who this is. Like he remembers what happened, or the survivor. So he was still all about it. But he was like basically the ultimate boogeyman trick-or-treater. He was just going from house to house slaughtering people. Len, remember, I've always hated Child's Play. Laugh out loud. This is a step up for me. That is true. You did always hate Child's Play. And listen, I'm not trying to hold on to Child's Play as like the greatest of all time. It has a place in horror history, definitely, but I think I just liked the stakes of it better in the original than I do do now, like what the new movie did. I agree that they need to stop bringing back the 80s slashers. They need to produce original content. They did that with the Haunted Doll Ghost series with 2 different spin-offs. If you want to consider that a series. The Annabelle series, you mean? I don't mind that. I don't mind franchises kind of... That's a new franchise. The Conjuring, that's its whole universe. I can appreciate that. We need more of that, I think. I think as long as they stay original and fun, and maybe not even so much original as they stay fun and they stay scary and they get people paying attention to horror. I think that's important. I think that means they have a reason to be. They are making another Conjuring movie, which I'm excited for. Every Conjuring movie, whether it would be Annabelle or The Nun, or The Conjuring or Conjuring 2, they all tie in together. Ed and Leslie Warren show up in all of them at some point, or are tied to it in some way. So I'm definitely interested in it and where it goes. Now, I think they're doing that better than they did franchises back in the day. I think the best one that did it, like if you talk mid-franchise, having a story, like a through-line story, was Nightmare on Elm Street 3 through 5. That was basically its own trilogy, following the Dream Masters, then the Dream Warrior, then the Dream Child, stuff like that. Well, I guess the only series I can think of would be Saw with Jigsaw for slasher. Yes. Look where they're taking it now. Did they beat that to death? 100%. They've beaten the Jigsaw Saw series to death. But now there's kind of like, it's like a sidequel. with Chris Rock's new movie, Spiral. It's in the same universe as Saw. It exists for a reason. And we're going to see where they take it. I'm anxious to see where Chris Rock definitely takes it. I'm excited. So I think that's going to breathe new life into it. And I love that. I love that the properties are allowing themselves to be expanded upon. And these companies are picking it up and they're just like, all right, what do we do? Like now they just announced Evil Dead 4 is coming out. And it's not going to be, of course, Bruce Campbell's not coming back again. It's going to be somebody new. And it's going to be a part, like, a lot of people don't realize the reboot of Evil Dead still takes place in the world of Evil Dead. It's still in that vein. So this one will as well. Like, so these things do exist, and they keep continuing to move on. So the horror world, I think, is good. The only one who can't get the crap together is the Universal movies, which they did with the new Invisible Man, and I'm excited to see a Ryan Gosling Wolfman. Let's see what happens there. But none of it's going to be connected, which is such a shame. How much of a shame is that? Like, that the Dark Universe just didn't work. The Dark Universe could have been so good. But they went too big, I think. And I think they've shown now, getting Lee Wynell to direct the new, the most recent Invisible Man. He's such a good director, and he's such a good writer that he did it real justice. Brian is going to skin me alive when he hears me say this, but I'm not a big fan of Elizabeth Moss. My partner in crime over on Pulling Focus, he is a big fan of Elizabeth Moss, but I've never been a big fan of anything I watched her on. But I really liked her in Invisible Man. I thought she did a fantastic job. That, and I liked her in Us, too. I thought her character in Us was really good. What happened? I thought they were supposed to be connected. They were, Len. So, there goes Brian. Shame. I know, I didn't want to say it. But, again, like, I don't think she's a bad actress. She's just, she doesn't resonate with me. I didn't like her on Mad Men. And quite a few other things. I did try Handmaid's Tale, and I just couldn't take her. Everybody else I liked. I couldn't take her in a show. But I did love her in Invisible Man, so maybe she's turning me around on her. I thought she did a great job in that movie. And in Us, I thought she did a great job. But Len, going back to what you were saying about the Dark Universe. So they were supposed to do a Dark Universe, Universal Monsters thing, where it's supposed to be like what Marvel was doing. Now, I think we've learned by now that nobody can do what Marvel's doing competently. Why? Because Marvel said, if we want to do these, we got to do them the right way, and they've got to take 20 years to tell a story. And that works. For comic book fans, that works. Everything's intertwined correctly. They've built everything together, not just writing the stories together, but they picked out actors who work together well and things like that. And they built to something, and they're continuing to build to something, and comic book fans alike love it. DC did not do that. DC was just like, how do we get to what Avengers was quickly? And the thing that bothers me the most about DC is Marvel doesn't own all of their entity. All of their properties, I should say. I'm sorry. Like Spider-Man is Sony, of course, and Hulk for a long time was Universal, so they couldn't do a solo film with him. And other characters as well. So we've seen Marvel get over some of those humps. I think what bugs me the most is Warner Brothers owns all of DC property, and they could have just easily done this the right way. They already had the Man of Steel. They had a Wonder Woman coming out, planned and coming out. If they had just followed through, and not said, okay, let's get Batman and Superman fighting, right off the bat, like, set it up more. Put a Batman movie out there. Let us see how Batman is in action and who Batman is. Then pit them against each other. So let's see what Wonder Woman is, you know? Then bring in Aquaman, like have Aquaman appear here and then eventually get his own movie or whatever. And build up to the Justice League. What are you doing? Like, you were just like, oh yeah, Batman vs. Superman didn't work. Oh, Wonder Woman worked. Here's Justice League. And we fired the director halfway through. So, yeah, and I go on this long rant about DC. That's because Universal did the same thing. Universal owns the property to all these wonderful Universal monsters, which we love. And really, we only ever got together. They only ever got together once. And extra points for anybody who knows that, which movie it was, which I'm sure you do, because whoever's listening is just as in tune to the geek world as I am. So, but I'll leave that question to you guys, and I'll answer it in the end. So, Universal could have done the same thing. And they started with Dracula, and it bombed. Which, Dracula Untold, I didn't think it was a bad movie. I liked Luke Evans as Dracula. It was just poor marketing, honestly, in my opinion. They were trying to do with that, and then they went to The Mummy with it, and, you know, when that bombed, they were like, alright, we're going to go big. We're going to get stars in this. They did The Mummy. The Mummy was kind of lame. It was a movie that was more suited to the type of movies that Tom Cruise likes to make, rather than make a good mummy movie, which I thought would have been important. And it was just a shame to see. So then they scrubbed it. After that, they scrubbed everything, and it's like, you could have built to it. Now they're supposedly just going to do everything separate again, which is just a shame to see. It really is. I hate to see that happen that way, but Invisible Man was awesome. I was apprehensive when I saw that was the first movie that they were coming back with in the Universal Monsters, but I was upset when I wasn't upset when I heard Lee Whannell was doing it, and then when I saw the first trailer, I was like, this is just amazing. This is gonna be an amazing movie. So we got the new Invisible Man. We got a whole bunch of stuff coming out, and it seems like they are going to go stars in it. Like Elizabeth Moss is a bona fide star, so completely understandable her in it. And then like Ryan Gosling for the Wolfman, to me works, because as big of a star as Ryan Gosling is, Ryan Gosling does the movies he wants to do, and they're generally always good. So I'm excited to see what he'll do with the Wolfman. So we got a lot of stuff coming out, and I'm very excited about that. For the answer of who got all of the Universal Monsters together, and that would be Monster Squad. That's right. Nobody else got them all together. Abbott Costello came very close, but they did not get everybody. But if you want all of the Universal Monsters, for the most part, you do get Monster Squad. Len, I still haven't seen The Invisible Man yet. I heard fantastic things to the extent of Best Picture at the Oscars. Well, this year's Oscars, maybe. That's very possible. It was really good. And it was a really cool concept and twist on the whole lore. I suggest you check it out as soon as you can. I think you'd really enjoy it. And that's where I think the focus needs to be. That's always been sort of my feeling on it. Yeah, you will get stars, but if you get the right directors, you get directors who understand horror, and how to do it and how to tell good stories, like Lee Whannell or James Wan, or just top directors today. And I'm just so excited about it. I wrote a little like social media piece today, post about kind of shorts. It was talking about a book that I had called Standout Shorts. It's called about short films and their importance. And the tie-in here is, I talked about David F. Sandberg, who directed Lights Out. He did it as a short film. And then he got a chance to do it as a feature film, which wasn't bad. I actually liked Lights Out. The short film was great. Just what he was able to do. And then I talked about how that led to him getting Shazam. And now, if you watch the new Shazam movies, yeah, they're very, they're supposed to be childish at heart, because that's who he is. what's his name? The kid who plays Shazam. I can never remember his name. Barry Watson? No, I can't remember his name at the moment. But he is a kid who turns into a full-grown superhero man. But it was dark. There were some scary parts for that movie. And David F. Sandberg has that look. I think he would be another one that would probably be really good to direct. Some sort of... He might be a good one for Dracula. I could see him pull that off. But there's so many you can go with. And I would love to see it go. I would love to see a new Van Helsing done right. A lot of people like Van Helsing. I did not. Was not one of my top movies, but I wouldn't mind re-seeing that again. Oh God, please follow Pony Smasher on YouTube for great behind the scenes of David Sandberg. I did actually. When I posted the post, I tagged them in it. I'm a big fan, and I also talked about Bruce Brannett and Jeremy Hunt, who did 405. This is years ago, and the visual effects of 405 are really what stand out. And my point of view from a filmmaking standpoint, and I actually talk to people a lot about this in filmmaking posts and such in groups I belong to, is when you're doing a short, a lot of people are like, I've got to make the most award-worthy short ever, so it's got to be deep, it's got to have this, it's got to have that. Thank you, sir. Yes, Steve. Yep, Psycho Cinema. Represent. So going into making a short film, I've told filmmakers stuff like this before. Don't always go to try and get your message across. You eventually want to step into making features. What you should be highlighting in your short films, I'm not saying do a bad story. A good story is always perfect and it'll always attract people in, but if you're focusing just on sending a message or trying to achieve an Academy Award, chances are you're not going to make it. You'll probably get into festivals, might be a good run, nothing wrong with that. But like I said, with like Lights Out by David Sandberg, F. Sandberg, or 405 by Bruce Brannett and Jeremy Hunt, things like that. If you're going to do a short film, highlight your talents in the short film. You can tell a good story, tell a good story. It doesn't have to be a full message, just has to be a good story to bring people in. If you do good camera work, try some new things in it. Make it really pop. If you do good editing, try and formulate the story around editing. Maybe non-linear. Maybe really have it stick out. If you do great VFX work, again, 405 is a great example of that. They land a plane on the 405 in Los Angeles. It's amazing. On a shoestring budget, that got, they started doing mega things after that because Spielberg saw it and was like, this is amazing. You want it to stick out when there's so much distribution for short films now. There's so much out there that you can put out there, Right now we're in, because of the pandemic, a virtual age where we have a lot of, film festivals that are doing virtual work. So if you don't have the money to travel to said film festival normally, now would be a good time to set up Zoom meetings, things like that, Put your work out there, put your thought into it. And I always call it trying to change the world. Usually the movies that people put together, especially short films, are death, drugs, and it's all a dream at the ends, because that's they feel like that's what is going to get film festivals' attention, things like that. Film festivals, just from what I've seen and by people I've talked to, if it's interesting, it's going to get their attention. And that's, I think, what everybody needs to focus on the most. Making something that stands out and highlights your talents along the way, so when people watch it, they're like, that guy's got something. So I think that's the best takeaway I can give. Hopefully that helps. But, especially if you're doing horror, reinvent it. Do something different. Take a chance. Especially in a horror movie. You know, like how many times have we seen the cliche? Open the mirror, nothing there. Close the mirror, something there. Or open the mirror with nothing there. Close the mirror, nothing there. Open the mirror with nothing there. Close the mirror, something's there. You know, these things just they keep popping back up because just that's what people go with. Then you have like a movie again. I know I'm kind of beating it to death, but like with Lights Out, like they turn that mirror thing on its head, flip the light off, body standing there down the hall. You know, like it's horrifying, but it's wonderful. I think that's the important thing doing shorts and stuff like that, especially now, because we're in such a place where we're going to need content. Do it, get it out there now. Show what you can do. Things are. I have a feeling the industry is going to kind of turn on its head a little bit, you know, and it's going to open up a lot for a lot of people because it's going to need to out of necessity. So if you can do something and get your name out there, do it now. You know, and highlight those talents as much as you can. You know, I know I kind of got off track with the dark universe of Universal, but you know, I am excited for that. Like I said, you know, I would love to see new upcoming directors kind of take the helm of those things. You know, we started out the show talking about this kind of the slashers that we love: Freddy Krueger, Chucky, Pinhead, Jason. You know, yeah, it would be great to see Stephen King's version of Jason. I would love to know what Stephen King thinks Jason wants to do. But I also want to know what like a James Wan would do with Jason, or what a Lee Wynell would do with Jason, or what somebody new who's inventive and can change those movies up. You know, everything's in a rights battle right now, so it's Friday the 13th's up in the air, so we're not going to see anything from them for a while, but like they're taking pitches for the Craven family's taking pitches for the new Nightmare on Elm Street movies. Blumhouse is doing Halloween, so you're kind of stuck there, but there's plenty of things you can write for. You know, and I would love to see some of these new filmmakers who are putting out these great films online, and just do something new with it. I watched Getaway the other day, which was directed by Blaine Weaver, who I have interviewed on the show before. He's a great guy. I really enjoy a lot of his movies. And then I watched Getaway. He did that on a micro budget. You know, it was take him out to the woods, slasher film. And a really interesting end to it. I really liked where he took it. And I'm not going to give any spoilers away. Again, this just came out, so I'm definitely not going to do that. But he changed up the conventions of how a slasher film would end, and I enjoyed that. I liked it. So, and I like where he took it, and I like where he left it. So, I would definitely check out Getaway if you get a chance. It was at Dead Center Film Festival this past weekend. I'm sure you'll see it on the film festival market, and since things are mostly virtual, you'll be able to check it out. Also, make sure you go and check out Skyline Indie Film Fest. That's my partner Brian's film festival. He is doing it virtually this year. I'm very excited about that. Going to be able to see a lot of movies and check those out. He's got some from last year up already. If you go on his website, they're there, theatrical to go. Make sure you're renting. Support the film festival as you can. I think it would be awesome. I'm an hour in on Getaway right now. Hey Steve, what's going on? I love it. What do you think? I like the ending a lot. Well, you're not there yet, but when you get there, I want to talk to you about it. I want to know what you think. Just kind of about how he changes it. I would definitely like to discuss that with you. But again, I don't want to give anything away to anybody. So, with that being said, and kind of going, we were talking about Skyline Indie Film Festival. Go check those out. They have some cool stuff up there now. Some good movies. I'm very much looking forward to what they do in September when they go virtual for their film festival. Hopefully, I will be helping out in some capacity if I can, doing pulling focus or whatever. But always want to support indie film indie film, not just indie film festivals, but indie films and indie filmmakers if we can. We're also doing a test screening at the Alamo soon, and I am waiting to finish it. So I am waiting. You're waiting to finish it, so you're not finishing it tonight. Okay. So you're doing a test screening, Steve. You're doing a test screening at the Alamo of Getaway, or just doing a test screening soon. I am happy to hear that. I'm chomping at the bit. I'm very happy to say that I'm going to be going to the drive-in. I love supporting the drive-in, but I love supporting my theaters too. And Alamo is our theater here in Winchester, and we love to go support there. We will be announcing soon. Our contest is ending on the 18th, so 19th we will be announcing our winner for the Ultimate Movie Challenge. That should be coming up soon, and once I do... okay, so very cool. So I wouldn't mind to see Getaway on the big screen. But we just... I love the drive-in. I'm going to see Grease tomorrow and Footloose. Next week I'm going to see Jaws on the big screen and Jurassic Park. It's going to be a lot of fun. But I need my theaters open. And I cannot wait to check that out. And if you're doing a test screen, Steve, if you're doing a test screening of Getaway, please let us know if tickets are available. When they are, I would love to check them out. It makes my heart happy to hear that Alamo should be opening soon. I cannot wait to get in there. It's been too long. I want to support as much as I can, and just be in the atmosphere of being in a movie theater. It's long missed. So I'm definitely excited for that. But as you can see, I'm wearing my Psycho Cinema shirt. So this is, it's just crazy times. I'm hoping everybody's staying safe. So like I said, I'm changing things up quite a bit. I was doing a lot of live shows. We are still going to continue to do live shows, but we're not doing the group watches right now because things are kind of opening back up again. They were mostly while people were in quarantine, wanted to kind of keep people entertained. But we have some fun things coming up. Brian and I, especially for Pulling Focus, we are teaming up to do some fun things, so make sure you check those out. We'll let you know what those are when they come time. 2 new shows added next week. The Monday morning review show for the Scene Snobs, and then the Friday night Scene Snobs showcase, which I want to bring on artists, I want to bring on musicians, I want to bring on everybody who's interesting and I want to talk to, and like it's going to be like a Graham Norton, like I said, a Graham Norton type thing where we just kind of hang out. You want to have a drink, let's talk shop and just have a great time with it. That's what it's all meant to be. That's going to be 9 o'clock on Friday nights. We'll still continue. Tomorrow night is Behind the Box. We are finishing up. We're going to be finishing up our top 4. We're in our final 4 of the Movie Monsters bracket. That should take about 20 minutes or so. We'll finish that up. And then we're going to go right into a special kind of report that we've been working on. That has to do with a lot of stuff going on, but make sure you come check it out. Join in there. Rob Paints the Movies, special episode going on Thursday at 7:30. Make sure you check that out. This Friday, we live tweeting the season finale of The Last Drive-In, as always. We always have a good time with that one. Saturday and Sunday, we have nothing going on right now, but I am happy to announce that the scenesnobs.com is going to start having articles, and we are looking for contributing writers. We have a few lined up that I'm very excited to have on board, but if you're interested, we're going to have, there's going to be a horror genre that you can write for. There's going to be movie reviews if you want to write movie reviews. There's going to be movie news if you want to write movie news, and other things along the way. So it's going to be a lot of fun. So hopefully you guys can join in. If you're interested, message me on the Scene Snobs. Want to hear from you, want to talk to you about contributing and things like that. So definitely interested. Now with that being said, I'm going to take off. I am still fighting the kidney stone bug, so I'm getting a little worn down, if you don't mind me. Hopefully I've been entertaining for you guys. You guys have entertained me. I love talking to you guys. Steve, I hope I hear more about Getaway Very excited about that. Brian, Len, thanks for joining in. Evan, thank you. You guys are always great as always. And I will talk to you guys soon. Have a great night. Also, make sure you follow us at The Scene Snob. Thanks very much and take care.